Welcome back to this course on astrology for weather prediction. We have been telling in the past classes that the Panchangam has been used by farmers, policymakers, and administrators for knowing the weather and the crop patterns which can be followed in the past times. So historically, astrologers used to predict weather patterns by various observations of the sky and as well as planetary combinations. The aggressive modernism, alien cultures, invasion, and development of modern science, which has rejected many of the traditional methods as superstition, has ultimately caused the usage of Panchangam to a minimal extent. And the Panchangam has now become something like a religious calendar. In the USA, a farmer's almanac is being used by many farmers. This farmer's almanac uses some traditional methods and some modern methods. In India, some of the universities in Andhra Pradesh and university in North India are publishing some Krishi Panjangas. We'll talk about that in another lesson. So in the Krishi Panjangas, sowing dates and also useful information to the farmers are being supplied. In the Panjanga, there are 3-4 major parameters which are used for forecasting the weather during the coming year. All the Panjangas use a system called the Celestial Council or the Navanayakas. Megha numbers, then the Jagat Lagna, then Saptanadi Chakra, and the Varshaphala numbers. About the Saptanadi Chakra, we have already seen in an earlier lesson. We will see the Navanayakas and cloud numbers in this lesson. And about the Jagat Lagna and other planetary combinations, we will see in the subsequent lesson. The Celestial Council, which control the various activities of the world during the year, consists of 9 people. So they are called therefore Navanayakas. Nava means 9. So Navanayakas are the names given, collective name given to the 9 persons in charge of the Celestial Council, in charge of the various departments or human affairs. The Raja or the chief of the council is the lord of the day on which Chaitra Shuddha Prathama falls. Chaitra Shuddha Prathama, is the first day of the lunar Hindu year. So on the Chaitra Shuddha Prathama day, whichever is the day, the lord of the day. The lord of the day means, suppose it's a Sunday, then sun is the lord of the day. If it's a Monday, moon is the lord of the day. If Tuesday, it becomes Mars, and so on. And the Raja is in charge of all general affairs. particularly the rainfall and everything. Mantri or the chief minister is the lord of the day on which sun enters Aries. Sun entering Aries is the day on which the lunisolar calendar starts in our country, which generally falls around 14th or 15th of April. In Tamil, it is called Chittarai month only. In some other calendar, they are called Chaitra of the solar Chaitra or Saura Chaitra month. So the day lord of the day on which sun enters Aries is the minister. The minister is in charge of all affairs, political affairs and all other affairs. Arghadipati is the third of the celestial council. Argha means mulya or value. So the price, finance, inflation, these are to be controlled by the planet who is the lord of the day on which sun enters Mithuna Rashi. The fourth member of the council is Meghadipati or the lord of the clouds. He is particularly in charge of making rains in the country. He is the lord of the day on which sun enters Ardhara star. We have already seen Ardhara Pravesha is a very important event in respect of prediction of rainfall in Savana and Bhadravada. The day lord of the day on which sun enters Karkataka Rashi or the sign Cancer. That is the day of starting of the Dakshinayana in our Hindu calendar. He is called the Sasyadipati. Sasya means plants, so he is in charge of all the plant growth or crops, general crops. The day lord of the day on which sun enters Simha Rashi is called the Senadipati. Senadipati means the military general. Sena means army, so Senadipati means military general. The lord of the day on which sun enters Dhanus Rashi is called Dhanyadipati. Dhanya means grains, so he is the lord of the grains. The lord of the day on which sun enters Tula Rashi, that means the autumnal equinox, is Rasadipati. Rasadipati means generally of all commodities, particularly oil and other cooking material and all, where all the rasa is there. The last of the navanayakas is called the Nirasadipati. Nirasa means without any liquid. So therefore, he is charged of the minerals and gems and such products, mining, etc. He is the lord of the day on which sun enters Makar Rashi or Capricorn sign. So these are the 9 lords in charge of various activities of the human affairs. You can see here in the Kashi Vishwanath Panchanga, right on the front cover, the front page, first page itself, the Navanayakas are shown here. The Navanayakas are shown here. अस्मिन् वर्षे राजा शनि मंत्री गुरु सस्येशः रवि दुर्गेशः बुध वनेशः शनि रसेश चंद्र धान्येश शुक्र नीरसेश शनि फलेश भौम and all those things, Meghesh Buddha and all is written here. So the Navanayakas are mentioned here. And here in this Panchangam you can see the Saptanadi Chakra also given here. All the planets are here. Chanda, Vayu, Saumya, Nira, Jala, Amrita, those Rashis are also mentioned here. And the Nakshatras are shown here. Now you can see another Panchang. Here also it is given Asmin Varshe Raja Shani, Mantri Guru, Sasya Surya. All this is given here. These are the navanayakas. And the Saptanadi Chakra is given here. And this is a place where the Varshadaka Pramana Suti is given the Varsha quantity in Atakas. Ardhra Pravesha horoscope is given here. Janmal, the Jagat Lagna horoscope is given here. We'll talk about Jagat Lagna Ardhra Pravesha horoscopes in a subsequent session. So the Panchangam right in the beginning gives the weather forecasting information. Now we'll see the various planets when they occupy each of their chairs. What would be their way of dealing with the affairs that they are in charge? When Sun becomes the Raja, there will be quarrel among kings. There will be medium reigns. Kings will threaten the human beings, means their subjects. Weapons, fire, and thieves, the threat from them will increase to the public. When Moon becomes the Raja, there will be good crop. Wheat, paddy, sugarcane will grow very well. People will perform yajnas and study Vedas. Cows will give plenty of milk, and dairy production will be very quite high in the country. When Mars becomes the Raja, there will be enmity with the king of the country. There will be enmity within. There will be fear from fire thieves. The land may become barren. Some crops will die. Snakes will increase. Agony to the people will increase. When Mercury becomes Raja, there will be winds across the country. People will lose the sexual activity. That means childbirth will get reduced at the end of the year. There will be scant rainfall. Medium yield of crops only will be there. Jupiter becoming Raja will give increase in religious acts. Righteous conduct of people will increase. Therefore, kings will follow the Brahmins and the righteous people. People will be healthy and happy. Venus as a Raja will give good crops in the country. Cows will give good milk. Romantic activity with people will increase. Saturn becoming Raja, thieves and weapons will cause danger to people. There will be less rainfall and less agricultural production. Now let us see the results of various planets occupying the seat of the minister. When Sun becomes the minister or the mantri, there will be quarrels among the kings and enmity between kings will develop. Rainfall will be low and people will follow some adharma path. So they will behave unethically. When Moon becomes the mantri, there will be very good rainfall. Agricultural production will be very good. People will be happy. They will be healthy. Safety of the people are ensured. There will be no more much danger from invasions and diseases, etc. When Mangal or Chova or Mars becomes the minister, towns and villages and forests can be devastated by fires. There will be fight among kings and rainfall will be scant. When Buddha or Mercury occupies the seat of the minister, there will be heavy winds which will carry off the clouds and rains will be less. Results will be not very good for people, although much distress may not happen. When Brihaspati or Jupiter becomes the minister, the people will lead happy lives. Rulers will help the subjects. They will take care of the subjects very well. And the kings will get good ministers to guide them properly. Religious activities will increase in the country. When Venus becomes the minister, romantic activities in the people will increase. Crops will be abundant. Cows will give plenty of milk. Good rainfall will happen. It will be the opposite when Saturn becomes the minister. There will be scanty rainfall and people will involve in bad deeds. Now you see here there are some Navanayaka results displayed in the Panchangams. I have already seen the Navanayakas displayed very prominently in the first page itself of the Panchangam in the Rishikesh Panchangam. Now inside when you open the Panchangam, the PDA, what they call the preface of the Panchangam, will contain the results of the Navanayakas in the lines of what we have already seen in the last two slides. Now it says here in the year of Subhakrat, here it says, for people who doesn't understand Tamil, I'll just say Raja is Shani, the king is Shani. And Shani is giving some negative results we have already seen. So it says there is less rain, scanty rain, there will be fear from thieves, and people will forget their dharma. It says Mandri is Brihaspati in this year. Cows will give very good milk, dairy production will increase, all grains will flourish, and people will have good health. And so on, it gives result of all the planets. Now there is another Pitika of Sringeri Panchangam. You can see here the Navanayaka results. It says here, Raja Shani, Phalam, Madhyani Sasyani, Vichitravishti, Chora Bhayam, Yadundaram Sasya Phalam, Kutantam Samburnam Asmin, Ravi Chandranatha. Ravi, when he has become the Raja, Shani has become the Raja, Ravija, Shani has become the Raja. Therefore, the crop growth will be medium, there will be very scant or sparse rains, and people will have fear from thieves. Similarly, it says, Mantri Guru Bahudanya Sampadaha Prabhuta Varsha Bhavanti Loke. Ample rain and good crops will be there because Mantri is Guru or Brahaspati. Similarly, it is given Ardhadipati, Dhanyadipati, all the results have been given. Nirasadipati, results are given in this page. And another Panchangam, same Sringeri Panchangam, there is a Tamil version of the Navanayaka. Raja results are given here, Mantri results, Senadipati results, Arghadipati results, Meghdipati results. All these are given here. So you can see that the Panchangas in our country, in the first page itself, they give an importance to the Navanayakas. And as soon as you open the Panchangam, the Pidika or the preface of the Panchangam gives the result of crop growth and rainfall based on the Navanayakas, the first page itself, because it is the most important aspect of human life, that rainfall, water abundance, and crop growth, food production should be good in the country. So the Panchangam makers of yore has made very special importance, or given very special importance to writing the rainfall prediction and the crop production, agricultural production results in the first page itself. Our Shastras say that the rain which falls on earth is divided in 5 parts out of 10 in the sea, 3 parts out of 10 in the mountains, and 2 parts out of 10 on the land. Because it returns back to the sea quite a bit, so that it can come back as rain again in the next season. So 10 parts, 5 parts are returned. Half of the water collected by the clouds are returned back to the seas, is what our Shastras say. And according to the position of the planet occupying the Raja seat, the extent of rain has been defined by some of our books which we have already seen. So this table here exhibits the amount of rain in Marakal or Adhagas. We have seen in our first lesson or first or second lesson in the Brihat Samhita that what is the Adhaga Pramanam. It is the measure of rainfall in the olden days by using a 1 cubit diameter rain gauge, and the rain collected is measured in terms of Adagas or Marakal in Tamil. So these are, the sun gives a less rain, moon gives more rain than Jupiter, less than Jupiter but more than sun, and Mars gives less rain than moon or Jupiter. Venus and Jupiter gives good rain, Saturn gives very low rain. Saturn and Sun almost give similar amount of rains, you can see. These are not converted into millimeter or centimeter like what we do. Our millimeter centimeter is on a square mile or a square kilometer area. In the olden days, certain yojanas were mentioned in the texts. So a 100 yojana area, how much rainfall it will fall in terms of the measure done by a gauge, in terms of volume of the volume one has been given in our old calculations. Here you can see that if a planet, same planet becomes king and minister together on the same year, then the country will face problems. So it should be that the same planet should not be the Raja and the Mantri. So the Raja and Mantri can be the same planet if the Chaitra Pradama and the first of Aries, first of Saura Chaitra falls on the same day. As you know, just they are either just 1 week apart, or exactly 15 days apart, or on the same day. Now we see some results of planets becoming Meghadipati. Megadhavati is the time, is the day Lord when the sun enters Ardra Nakshatra. When sun becomes Megadhavati, there will be rains elsewhere in the country than the place of requirement. That means there may be rains in the desert regions or forest regions where people do not put it to good use, like agriculture. Therefore, the crops yield will become lower. Wherever red soil is there, that means on the near to mountainous areas, they will yield good crops. When moon becomes the Megadhavati, good rains and good crops will follow. Dairy production will be good. When Mars becomes Megadhavati, or the lord of the clouds, there will be gales and winds, low rainfall, red crops like certain grams, they will grow well, and a red soil area will have good cultivation. When Mercury becomes the Megadhavati, cloud bursts, like we have seen in some year, there will be sudden cloud bursts and heavy rainfall, unprecedentedly very high rainfall in some areas, and thunderbolts. Such effects will happen when Mercury becomes the Meghadhavati. Rains will be good. However, the rains on the northern part and southern part will have this type of cloudburst and thunderbolts and difficulties, flooding in certain areas, and the middle part of the country will be having better benefits. Jupiter becoming the Meghadhavati gives good crops, good health to people. Venus also similarly good dairy production, good agriculture. And Saturn, as usual, is scanty rainfall, fewer crops. But the black crops like sesame and black gram will flourish. Now, to summarize the results of the navanayakas, what we have seen, with reference to the agriculture alone, because there will be some other results also given about the health of the people, about the kings, their behavior, etc. Taking them out, only the weather part, if you take it a hit, if you look at it, when sun becomes Raja, Mantri and Meghadvati, rains are less, can say. When moon becomes Raja or Mantri or Meghadvati, good rains are there. When Mars or Angaraka, he becomes the Raja or Mantri or Meghadvati, there will be less rains. Mercury gives rise to winds, thunder, hailstorms, and other things, giving not a very healthy agricultural production. Jupiter becoming Raja or Mantri or Meghadvati all the time gives good rains. Economic growth will be there. Flourishing of agriculture will be there. Venus also similar results. And Saturn gives low rain results, less than average rainfall. But when he becomes Meghadvati, moderate rain will be there. Now I have present in front of you some findings which I did by analysis of the Panchangam predictions and actual rainfall in the South Indian Peninsula. I have collected 200 years of rainfall data in the South Indian Peninsula and used the predictions in the Tamil Panchangams, because the Tamil Panchangams are meant for the region of South Indian Peninsula. So in the 200 years of data, I have separated them or classified them into deficient, excess and normal rainfall. The normal being plus minus 10% of the long-term average, and the normal and deficient rainfalls, which are less than 10% up to 20% less. So in this way, after classifying, we have put in the data from the Panchangams of the Raja and Mantri and the predicted rainfall. And using the Raja and Mantri planets, what could have been the actual rainfall and what is the actual rainfall. So there is a comparison done. So here you see, out of the 200 years of rainfall, approximately 35 years of rainfall were deficient, and also 35 years of rainfall was excess. And the normal rainfall around 130 years of rainfall was normal. And the Sun, Moon, Mars, Jupiter, etc. becoming the Raja planet. We have seen what are all the rainfall in the country. So you'll find here there were around 4 years out of the 35 years of rainfall, 4 years of rainfall, deficient rainfall contributed by Raja, 4 years by Moon, 8 years by Mercury, 3 years by Saturn. And contrary to the normal, the Panchanga, the Venus Raja also contributed to deficient rainfall. You will find in excess rainfalls, Moon has created excess rainfalls. Mercury, Jupiter has created excess rainfalls. And in general, rainfall, normal rainfalls were less in case of Saturn, but more in case of Moon and less in case of Mars. So, although the Raja Mantri results are not accurately matching with the actual happening, the trend what they have probably thought about for a certain small number of years, the trend would be that Sun and Saturn will produce a lesser than normal, less number of years of normal rainfall, and Jupiter or Moon or Venus will create more number of normal rainfall years. Now the same type of analysis for the monthly planets. You see here, Sun and Saturn has produced a less number of normal rainfall years out of the 132, and Moon and Venus have created more number of normal rainfall years. Here Mars has also created more number of rainfall years. Jupiter has contributed to higher number of excess rainfall years, and Venus also. Sun and Saturn has produced higher number of lesser division rainfall years. Mercury also has created higher number of division rainfall years. So the general trend about Mercury and Saturn and Moon and Jupiter given in the Panchangam follows a certain pattern that this Jupiter, Venus, Moon, they produce higher number of normal rainfall years than Sun and Saturn being the Mantri. So with both Raja and Mantri put together and made a sum of the two or a resultant of the two, we can get a fairly good idea of what could be the rainfall in the country during the year. Now we have talked about Meghadipati, which is the ruler of the clouds. In modern science, we are normally classifying the clouds as cirrocumulus, cirrus, cirrostratus, cumulonimbus, and etc., which you might have studied in the higher schools, altocumulus, altostratus. Highest clouds in the atmosphere are cirrocumulus, cirrus, cirrostratus, etc. Mid-level clouds are altocumulus and altostratus. Lowest clouds in the atmosphere, stratus cumulus. And their rain-bearing capacities are given by the meteorologists in the scientific, our modern scientific literature. In the Hindu astrology, we are classifying the clouds as 9 types. They are called Avarta Megha, Samvarta Megha. Megha means cloud. Avarta, Samvarta, we can say. We can drop the term Megha from each of them. So Avarta, Samvarta, Pushkala, Drona, Kala, Neela, Varuna, Vayu, and Tamo Meghas are the 9 types of clouds in Hindu astronomy. Now, the names of these are more or less sounding what they could be. Like you can see, Varuna is a lot of the waters. So, Varuna is having a lot of rain bearing capacity. Vayu is a moving cloud which has sparse rain capacity. Avarta, Samvarta are similar. We will see now what is the rain bearing capacity of each of these clouds as given in our Shastras. This information has been taken from an ancient book called Vimesara Ullamudayan in Tamil. Similar information is given in Bhavishyavala Bhaskara, Krishi Parasara also. Multiplying the Saka year by 8 and dividing by 9 gives a number. And that number 1, 2, 3, 4 in serial order are Avarta, Samvarta, and Pushkala, etc., what you have seen in the last slide. Avarta Megha produces drizzly rains. Samvarta, windy rains, gales and winds and rains. Pushkala Megham creates very heavy downpours. Drona Megha causes heavy rains. Kala Megha gives sparse rains. They are not very high rain-bearing clouds. Neela Megha is a reasonably good amount of rain. Varuna Megha gives abundant rain. Vayu Megha is carrying more of air than water. Therefore, it doesn't give good rains, it gives drought. Tamo Megha will cause unpredictably heavy rains like cloudbursts, etc. The origin of the clouds are on the east or the west or southwest of the Meru. as given in our Shastras. So Avarta Samvarta Megas start in this fashion: north, northeast, south, southeast of the Meru. And depending on the Meghadipati, the clouds will be formed from east up to the west in a fashion, like in order of their the planet becoming the Meghadipati. There is a little bit of confusion, or not, you can say, less clarity here in the texts. I am not really able to find out that if you take the peak of Meru as in the North Pole, or even in the Himalayas with reference to India, some clouds forming in the north or northeast of Meru, they cannot cross the Himalayas and rain in India. So these might maybe clouds causing rain in the other parts of the Asian subcontinent. So in this way, if you really look at the direction and formation, we cannot restrict it to the Indian part of the Asian subcontinent or the Indian subcontinent alone. It needs a little more study about these clouds and their formation in the north and northeast, or even to the east of Meru, because most of our clouds are formed from the south to southwest and southeast of Himalayas. I have already told you in the earlier part of the presentation that I have tried to correlate the actual rainfall of 200 years in South Indian Peninsula with that of the rainfall predicted by the Panchangam parameters like the navanayakas and the clouds. So according to the clouds given in the Panchangam for 200 years, I tried to plot a distribution curve in the normal, deficient or excess region of rainfall and number of years that one particular mega has contributed that much of rainfall. So you see here, the Vayu mega has created slightly less than normal rainfall for more number of years and very less number of excess rainfall years. The Tamo mega has created high rainfall and excess rainfall than the deficient rainfall years. Avarta mega here, has created more number of deficient rainfall years than excess rainfall years. Similarly, the Drona mega here, the blue one, see, this has created very less number of deficient rainfall years, but more number of more than normal rainfall years. The same case with Varuna mega, it has created more number of rainfall years. But only the case of Pushkala mega we see that there are less number of excess rainfall years, contrary to the Pushkala Mega's characteristics given in the Shastras. So the clouds also, as defined in the Panchangam, also point to a very general way of judging the excess rainfall years, or at least whether there are normal rainfall at all during the year. Now, Bhavishya Balavaskara, it gives the description of a certain number, just like what we are calculating the cloud number in the other book. Vikramavarsha multiplied by 3 added with 5 and divided by 7, or 3 subtracted from Vikramavarsha multiplied 2 and divided by 7. This will yield a number, and if it is 6, there is deficient rainfall. If it is 1 or 3, it is normal. If it is 4 or 5, it is above normal. If it is 2, very high above normal. This is what the Bhavishya Balavaskara gives as per their rainfall calculation numbers. Now we will see how the Bhavishya Balavaskara numbers and the actual rainfall matches. You see the calculated excess rainfalls in these thick blue lines. There is quite flat in this. The calculated moderately excess rainfall fall in the normal plus region, more number of years. The calculated deficit rainfall actually doesn't fall into the it doesn't fall into the completely deficient region, but somewhat skewed into the deficient region. The calculated highly deficit region does not meet with the calculated number. The normal calculated values fall fairly into the normal and plus normal region, and the calculated drought region also does not really fit into the very deficient number. Therefore, the Bhavishya Balavaskara constant is a very, very approximate system in my opinion. There is another prediction given in the Tamil Panchangam called Idaikadar Padal, or the Song of Idaikadar. Idaikadar was a Siddha who lived in the Pandya kingdom, and he has composed about 60 couplets telling the result of each year and the rainfalls and crops he has mentioned there. So every year the Panchangam also gives according to Prabha, Vibhava, etc. here what is the Idaikadar Padal. In these verses you will find Tungabhadra, Godavari, Gurjara, Ilada, Singhala, China, and so many countries given for the prediction of rain. So it is probably understood that Idaikadar as a Siddhar was a global citizen. Therefore, he has mentioned the entire South Asia in his rainfall prediction, which also meets more or less with the understanding which I told you about the clouds getting formed in the north and northeast of Himalaya also. Therefore, this Idaikadar Padal does not match exactly with the rainfall of 200 years, which I did some research. Around 40% only matches with the actual rainfall. We will continue this in the next lesson with the prediction using Jagat Lagna, Sasya Jataka, and other planetary factors. Thank you for watching. See you again.